What's up? It's your boy E coming to you live with another episode of Chop It Up. I got my boy Chris.
What's up? What's up?
Deal, bro. How you doing? How's everything going with you?
Everything is good, man. Hey, it's good to see you again, bro.
Good seeing you too, man.
Always.
Good seeing you too.
Always.
So what's going on with you? What's new in the world? What you been up to? A
Man,
little just to that.
lately I've just been grinding. Street Fighter, work, school, gym, everything. Just trying to get my life together. It's been good though, man. Like I never felt better. You know, I feel like I got my life in order right now.
Give a people of like a gist of what you do in life and how long you been doing it. You know, just give them a little wrap.
Yeah, so pretty much I'm a professional Street Fighter player in esports. I've been doing it for about 15 years now, since I was 14 years old. And it's kind of crazy when I tell people that I'm a professional gamer because, you know, they never know what to say afterwards. They're like, is that really a thing? Like you get to travel, you get to do this and that from gaming. Yeah, from gaming. And I be telling them all the stories that I've had and the experiences just from playing a video game. And sometimes it even baffles me because of what I've experienced from just playing a video game. Like every dude grows up playing video games, but there's a certain line where, you know, you're either average, I play games for fun, or you turn it into something that is a career.
Right.
I grew up in the Middle East. I was born in Kuwait. I'm Armenian. I came to the US when I was about 8 or 9 years old. And I didn't know a lick of English when I came to the States. So it was really hard for me to learn the language. And I struggled a lot trying to understand English because it's different, man. English is difficult when you speak Arabic and Armenian.
Right.
But, you know, luckily I had a lot of good people in my life that supported me in just learning the language. My cousin was one of the first people that helped me through classes. And I was reading like preschool level stuff when I was in 5th grade. And then afterwards is when my English started picking up. But I've always been a gamer ever since I was a kid. And that was always stuck with me in my life. So no matter what phase of my life I was in, that was always a part of it. But yeah, I mean, I
said you've been loving video games, but it's funny. I'm just like,
yeah, so
a vivid memory. Like you gotta tell them.
Yeah.
You gotta tell them about the time you got in trouble by your dad.
oh yeah, I was
Yeah, please.
So
Please, go ahead.
So I was like 5 years old, and my dad comes home from work, and my dad's hot-blooded, bro. We're Middle Eastern, you know. And I'm on the game. I'm playing Mega Man X4. I still remember. And I'm just crying and just screaming. And he comes home pissed off, and he sees me just yelling at the TV, just very close to it. This man takes me to the other room, and I'm sitting there like crying in my, you know, like what the hell's about to happen right now? He comes back with the PlayStation, right? The PlayStation 1, and he broke it on my head. He broke that shit on my head. I feel like,
Bro, so he knocked the gaming into you.
bro, there must have been a chip or something from the PlayStation that got lodged inside of my brain that just got me locked in with gaming. Gaming forever, yeah. But it was crazy because,
Bro, I'm crying. All right, I'm sorry.
no, it's funny. It's funny. But the best part of the story is not the fact that he broke it on my head, but the fact that the next day he felt so bad that he took me to GameStop and bought me the PlayStation 2. So yeah, with a bump on my head. But he didn't talk to me at all. He didn't talk to me for those 2 days, and then
That's cold right there.
and then bought me the PlayStation 2. So the culture over there, it's like, it's different here, you know. You expect to get beat. But I never hated my father for it. I love my father, and you know, he raised me right. But it's just part of the culture over there, you know. But yeah, that's just a funny story that.
Okay, so you talked about how you started playing video games and you came to stay, or you couldn't even, you didn't know English and stuff.
Yeah.
You said you started playing video games at 5 or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, when did you know that, video gaming was gonna be part of your life, right? Like, when did you start, like, actually, like,
Taking it serious?
Yeah.
There was I was about 14 years old, and Street Fighter 4 had just came out. I had just bought it. And it's kind of crazy about how I bought that game, bro. Like, you know how people say there's divine intervention?
Right.
I know it sounds crazy, but I truly believe that this was my destiny to have this game be a part of my life and for me to experience everything I've experienced, because typically, like, I would get one game a year. And on my 14th birthday, I went to Best Buy with my brother and and my dad. And my brother wanted me to buy Pro Evolution, which was a soccer game.
Right.
And I swear to God, bro, I walked past Street Fighter 4 and everything in me told me to stop and just stare at the game.
Right.
And I heard a voice in my head telling me, you need to buy this game. You need to buy this game. It's going to change your life. Right. And I kid you not, bro, I'm 14 years old and I'm hearing a voice in my head telling me that I need to buy this game. And I was drawn to it. And eventually I picked up Pro Evolution, and I go to the counter and everything is just pulling me back to Street Fighter. Like, you need to go back, you need to go back. Eventually I made the decision to go back, and I ran. My dad was pissed at me. He was like, is this the game you want? Is this the game? And I picked up Street Fighter, and everything changed afterwards. But I was starting to play the game online, and I didn't know that there was tournaments for it.
Right.
I'm on the internet and I stumbled across the World Finals. I somehow stumbled across the World Finals for it. It was live at the time, and it was the Grand Finals. It was called Evolution, Evo. And I was watching the Grand Finals. It was Justin Wong versus Daigo, who was like the greatest Street Fighter player at that time.
Right.
And I'm like, damn, there's a whole crowd. There's thousands of people watching. It was just crazy, And watching Daigo win that tournament, it inspired me to want to pursue something more with it, because I really loved the game at the time. I had been playing it for a couple of months.
Right.
And so
This is before, like, were you using a stick or you were?
I was on the Xbox controller.
Okay.
And it just ignited something in me to want to pursue greatness. When I saw Daigo win, it made me want to pursue that type of greatness. And it made me think, why can't I do it? If someone else can do it, I could do it too. It was just I got locked in. That's the best way to say it, is that I started thinking that this could potentially be something that changes my life forever. And the feeling was excited. It was excited because I truly loved playing the game. So it wasn't something difficult for me to get into. It was just natural. I've always been a gamer, and this was just something that I wanted to be the best at.
Right.
And particularly, I wanted to be the best Ken player, because Ken was my favorite character. So it ignited something in me that was, it's hard to describe. It's like there was just a lot of dedication that came afterwards.
So when did the joystick and stuff come along? Like, when did
the fight stick? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the fight stick and stuff came along, but were you already in your first tournament? Did you go to your first tournament with a controller? Or?
Nah, actually, it was with the fight stick. Okay. Because at that moment I was
how'd you learn it? Is what I'm saying. Because from controller to fight stick, it's totally different.
Completely different. Yeah, I had to. One of the first lessons that I learned at 15 was how to drop your ego, because when you're used to playing on a controller,
right,
and then you got to switch to a fight stick,
right,
there's a learning curve with that fight stick. So I was losing a lot, and it really would piss me off. As a kid, you get pissed off when you lose. And that was difficult for me to drop that ego, because I would switch from the fight stick. I'll be like, man, this motherfucker thinks he's better than me. Like, he's not better than me. Like,
right.
I'd pick the controller back up and I'd beat him. And then I'd be like, no, you got to stick to it, because this is the way. That's what all the pros were playing on at the time.
Right.
So it took about 6 to 8 months for me to learn how to use that controller at a high level. And after that, it just stuck with it. And I went to my first tournament. My first tournament was Evo. It was the World Finals. And I was 15 at the time. And I actually bombed it. I went 0-2. That's the worst you could do at a tournament. 0 wins, 2 losses. You're immediately eliminated. And I had this high hopes for myself because I had made myself known online as one of the best players.
Right.
And they're like, who's this kid? Who's this Ken player at 15 years old? And I go to the World Finals and I just completely just shit the bed, you know?
Man.
And I remember lying to my mom and dad, telling them, oh yeah, I won like 9 games and then I ended up losing. Because I felt like shit.
Right.
I'm over here training, practicing, and then you go when the spotlight is on you, you choke. And that was a feeling that stuck with me for a long time.
So that made you feel like
Worthless.
I need to be better.
I need to be much better.
Yeah, okay.
Whoever I thought that I was is not who I really am. So I had to reality check myself because it's easy to live in delusion. And you have to be someone that can objectively look at your performance.
Right,
you could say that you're good, but on paper, you're ass.
Right.
You could say that you're good all you want, but when the moment came, you folded. So that was something that really bothered me, and it made me feel not good enough. I had to challenge myself even more to get what I wanted.
You were 15 at the time.
Yeah.
Going against grown men that had probably been playing the game longer than you have.
Yeah.
So I know it made you feel like, oh, okay, well, shit, I really got to step my game up at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what happened at your second? Like, what, you went to your second tournament?
There was a local tournament, and by local, I mean an hour and a half away.
Right. Because normally the world tournament's a private, correct?
Right. It was in Vegas. The World Finals is always held in Vegas.
Right.
And I was like, well, I got to get more experience with competing under pressure. Right. That's what got to me. That's what made me lose, was I didn't know how to compete under pressure.
Right.
And so I was looking at forums online, and Twitter was barely starting to come out, and people were talking about it. And there was this arcade called Super Arcade, owned by one of the legends of Street Fighter. His name's Mike Watson, one of the most legendary players of all time.
You met him before?
I had never met him before that, but me and a group of players from Victorville, we decided to go down there and start competing. It was a local tournament called Wednesday Night Fights. It was hosted by Watson and Alex Valle. Alex Valle was the greatest American player back in the Alpha days, in Street Fighter Alpha days.
Right.
So he was older now, and he's hosting these tournaments. And this is the proving grounds. This is where you go to make a name for yourself in Southern California.
Right.
Because the best players in Southern California go there to compete. And so we started going as a crew. Me and my best friend at the time, his name was Brent. He was my training partner. We would train together. And me, him, and a couple of the others, we started driving down there and competing. And that's where I started to really make a name for myself, getting that experience of competing under pressure. And I never won Wednesday Night Fights until I was about 18, 19 years old. I was going there for a long time. But the competition was fierce. I would always get second place, third place, second place, third place. The feeling of being so close to achieving what you want to achieve and not getting it, it drives you crazy, man. It puts you into overdrive. It makes you sacrifice a lot in order to get that W.
Right.
And part of that sacrifice was, man, being able to compete at a high level is one thing, but driving an hour and a half getting your ass whooped and then driving an hour and a half back, that salty ride back home, bro, there's nothing like it. And the thing is, we didn't have enough seats in the car. So I would have to lap up. I would have to literally lay down on people just so I could get to Wednesday Night Fights on time. I did that for 2-3 years, bro.
Man.
And I know it's a foolish thing to do and I could have died from it, but at that time, there was only one thing on my mind, was to win.
Right.
Was to achieve that W. And I was willing to do anything for it. So years went by where I'm competing and I'm not winning, and then there was this person that really brought the best out of me, and his name was Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes and I were rivals, and we were only rivals because he got first place all the time, and I would get second place. I didn't beat this guy for over a year. Imagine getting second place to the same person for over a year. Bro.
What was he doing different though? Was just beating you.
His fundamental understanding of the game was at a higher level than me. His decision making, his risk taking was, as you said, very meticulous. And I was the type of player where I'm hot blooded, I'm young, I'm aggressive, I want to rush down. I didn't know how to control the game. Right. He knew how to control the game, and the character he plays, you can't make mistakes against that character. He plays Zangief, the big Russian guy who just grabs you once and you lose your whole life. Yeah, exactly. So I would always get really close, but there was a time period where eventually I beat him, and it was one of the greatest feelings of my life because I finally overcame the mountain. And once I overcame the mountain, it put the belief in me that I can do this and win major tournaments against the best players in the world. So that was one of the sparks that led me to be able to win majors. There's a difference between locals and majors. When you win a local, it's like, yeah, you got 30, 40 people that might enter the tournament, and they're all really good, but that doesn't really say how good of a player you are. But when you enter a major tournament, and there's Japanese players there, there's who've always been regarded as the best. The Japanese have always been the best.
Right.
And there's international players there. That's when your skills are really put to the test. When the pressure is on at majors, do you rise above the pressure or do you fold? Right. And now, there's many times where I folded under pressure, and still to this day.
You have any majors that you've won though?
Yeah, I've won a good amount of majors now. One of the ones that I loved was the Game Over tournament when I went to the Dominican Republic, and I won that tournament because I had to beat the Capcom Cup champion for that tournament. I was in top 8, and my first opponent was the Capcom Cup champion. He's the world champion of Street Fighter, and he's from the Dominican Republic. He's in front of his home country, right. And to beat him was a statement that, oh shit, I could win this tournament. He was my first opponent in top 8. And then I had to play his best friend in grand finals. And when I tell you, bro, the Dominicans, they don't fuck around.
Right.
Every touch, every time he hit me, the whole stadium erupted. And I could hear it through my headphones. It's like, damn, there's so much pressure, you know?
Right. It's like you don't have no fans there.
I don't have no fans. They're all rooting for him. He's the hometown hero right now. Right. He's defending his country from the invader, from me. And the thing is, I was on the winner's side, he was on the loser side. He had to reset the bracket against me. And the way you reset the bracket is you got to beat somebody 3 times to reset the bracket. He was up 2-0 against me, ready to reset the bracket. And then at that point, something clicked in my head where I was like, I'm not the only one that's feeling pressure. He's feeling pressure because he has to defend his country. And the crowd is rooting for him. I could use that to my advantage and play some psychological warfare. So the way I started playing the game was a bit more unorthodox to try to fuck with his head. And it ended up working out for me. I ended up beating him.
You had to beat him the one time.
No, I had to beat him 3 times as well. So I was down 2-0, and then I made a 3-0 comeback in order to beat him. And that was a really good win for me, for my mindset. And it's something that I'll always cherish. But other than that, I've had amazing victories in my life, man. My favorite victory was against a player named Momochi, and this was a Japanese god. He is known as the best Ken player in the world.
So he uses your same character? He
uses my same character, and I always idolized him. I always admired the way that he played Ken ever since I was 14. Right. I would watch Momochi to learn how to play Ken. How do I play this character? He plays him the best.
Right.
Studied him for years, for 10 years. And when in 2017, his wife messaged me after I said that I was going to Japan for a couple of weeks. His wife messaged me and she was like, hey, Momochi would like for you to stay with him for a couple of weeks and train. And I was like, there's no way that this is happening right now. It was like a dream come true.
Right.
So I go to Japan and I stay with him and I train with him for a couple of weeks. And I'm just like in the dojo, bro. Like I'm in Japan studying the game, and just, it was like, I felt like a samurai, I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
It was crazy. And so I studied and I played the game with him, trained with him. And then a couple of months afterwards, there was a tournament in Southern California called SoCal Regionals. Mm-hmm. My first opponent in top 8 was Momochi. And so there was a lot of pressure on me because this was my moment. This is what I've been waiting for 10 years.
Right.
I hadn't played him like that in tournament in 10 years. And so he ends up picking my same character, picks Ken, and the whole crowd erupts, and the commentators are like, this is master versus student, this is anime, this is everything he's waiting for, you know? So they're all hyping it up. Right. And all I could think in my head was, I have to win. I have to win. God, you got to be with me on this one. I got to win. It went down to the wire, bro, and I ended up winning. And it was it was just the greatest feeling. Like, there was so much pressure. Everyone probably expected me to lose.
Right.
But to win in that circumstance showed me that, man, I really can do it when the pressure's on. You know, and you start really believing in yourself and being the greatness that you are, you know?
So you faced adversity,
Yeah.
whooped his ass, and now look. So what are you like? What do you rank now?
I would say, as humbly as I can, I would say in America, I'm top 5 right now in America for sure. Where that order is, I don't know, but I would say I'm top 5 because the world champion, he lives in America. He's number 1.
Like,
There's other players that are currently better than me,
Okay.
but I would put myself in top 5.
Do they rank you, or do you like you're just like humbly saying like?
No, I think if you were to take a consensus of the community, they would probably say I'm top 5 right now in America. But I also know how good I am considering the results that I've had with Street Fighter 6 that just came out. So there is no official ranking with who's above who yet. But at this moment, I think it's very well known that I am one of the best players, not just in the country, but in the world as well. Yeah, as humbly as I could say that, as respectfully as I could say it. So I recently got signed with OTF Gaming, which is owned by Lil Durk. And I've had plenty of sponsors before in my life. I was actually sponsored by Daigo's team as well, like the main legendary Japanese player. I was able to get sponsored by him back in 2018. Right. And there was a lot of life lessons learned from that experience. But recently I did get signed by OTF Gaming, and I hit him up because Dirk is a rapper. And I'd had the blessing and opportunity of meeting celebrities and rappers through Street Fighter. For some reason, rappers fuck with Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Right. I had, there was an event called Rappers vs. Gamers. And I got to meet a lot of people from that. And it was just crazy to me, bro. One of my favorite producers of all time is Sledro. Produced for Wiz Khalifa. And I got to meet him, and he was like, oh yeah, bro, I know about you. This and that. I watch you play and this and that. I'm like, bro, what is going on? Like, how is this possible?
You're a celebrity to them.
Yeah, and it's just, it's crazy. Bro, like, another crazy moment was Neo had tweeted, man, I'm trying to play the Street Fighter and nobody can see me, this and that. I'm like, bro, I'll help you out. And he DMs me. I'm like, Neo, just DM me right now. I used to listen to Neo all the time when I'm like heartbroken and shit, you know, like back when I was in middle school. So it was just insane, you know. Street Fighter is bringing me all this experience.
Right.
And so I hit up Dirk's team and I said, hey, I've had a lot of experience with meeting rappers and working with them. And, you know, Dirk likes Street Fighter as well. So it makes sense for me to be part of the team. You guys don't have the fighting game player. You don't have a Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter player. Right. Let me be an ambassador for that team. Let me be someone that is in charge of that Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, fighting game side of it. Y'all got Call of Duty players, NBA 2K players, but you don't have anybody representing you from this community. And they were down for it. You know, the manager, Zeph, he talked to Dirk, and Dirk was welcome with the idea. So I got signed by them. Again, blessed with the opportunity to work with a great organization.
And how has it been going, Ruth?
It's been great, man. I've met some great people. I've yet to met Dirk, but that's in the process. That'll definitely be some content that we're looking to shoot together. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
You mentioned that you had a few celebs under your belt. Like, you played video games with multiple, or is it just?
Yeah, like.
What was your favorite, if you don't mind me asking?
Honestly, there was, I think the one that really shocked me was Neo. Neo and Sledrin was ones that really shocked me because I looked up to their music so much.
They actually like the game too.
Yeah, and they actually fuck with the game. Like Sledro, in my opinion, is the best producer, like musician that plays fighting games because he's a monster at Mortal Kombat. I got to meet Ray Shrem, play with Ray Shremmer. You know, I got to play with Baron Davis, the basketball player as well. It was crazy. Yeah. And there's another producer as well. His name is Fierce. I say that Sledger is the best, but I think Fierce is the best now. Fierce is a really cool guy.
They might tap in and watch this. You said that on camera.
Yeah, most definitely. No, Fierce is the homie. I was just talking to him the other day, but yeah, he's a really cool guy. He's from Atlanta. He's our age. And Sledro actually told me about him. He was like, hey, check out my homie Fierce. He's going to be at the World Finals. Go talk to him. He's cool. So I went over and I talked to him. We chopped it up. He invited me over. We played games. We talked about music, everything. And I was like, damn, bro, they produced for Jack Harlow, Drake, all of that. And he's actually really nice at the game too. Like really, really nice at the game. So I was like, you're an amazing producer and you're really good at Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. That's sick, man, because it's really hard to be a master at multiple different things in life. Right. But generally when people are a master at one thing, they have the belief that they could be a master in other things as well. I'm just grateful to God for all the experiences, man.
Oh, definitely, bro. Keep doing your thing. You're doing great. Well, honestly, I love the journey. Yeah. I love the little reels and stuff that you've been posting, teaching people how to play the game. Like,
yeah,
keep doing it, bro. People love to see shit like that.
And you kind of have to from the content and creator side of it. Like, if you're in the pro gaming, you have to make TikTok videos and reels and Instagrams and stuff. And I've never really been that type of guy. You know, I'm the player, bro. I can analyze the game. I could talk to you about the game, but to make 1-minute videos, and it's kind of hard to get into that content creator personality. But I've been learning to just stick true to myself and to talk how I normally talk in order to put those types of videos, and people have been appreciating it.
It makes sense though, bro, because it's like you already have something that people see, they love enjoying it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or they love watching you play the game and stuff, so why not teach and have a class, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like having a podcast or something. Like,
yeah,
it's dope, man. It's just, this is like, if you can give game, give it. Why not? It's enough for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. I think that there's a lot of room for content there for players, the top players, to help other people. And that's where I found my niche. I found that I'm good at teaching Street Fighter.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. Like, is it so random how, like, you went to college and you wanted to be
a dentist at the time? A dentist, yeah, but I never really wanted to be a dentist. It was more my father that wanted me to be a dentist.
So the whole dentist thing came along, and it was more like, okay, now you kind of did. You're a chemistry teacher, correct?
Right.
So I mean, it kind of like, you know,
it falls in line with teaching.
You still get to do, speak that or talk about, fucking teeth or whatever the fuck it may be. Like, or,
so it was like
it's tight, bro. Like,
the whole teaching thing happened because I got my degree in chemistry.
Right.
And I was like, what the fuck do I do with chemistry?
Right.
Except be in a lab. And right. And so the roommate that I had after living with you, he became a math teacher. He was like, Chris, I think you'd really like being a substitute teacher or a teacher,
Right.
You'd get along with the kids really well. And I was like, you know what? Why not? At the time, I needed a job because life is very difficult when you're a professional gamer. It's not as
is it that you don't make enough money?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Depending on the game that you play. So like Call of Duty players, League of Legends players, these guys make a lot of money. But Street Fighter players at the time, we didn't have much opportunity to make a living off of Street Fighter. Unless you're streaming, YouTube will pop them.
Okay.
So,
but do you guys collect revenue service from
Twitch? From Twitch. Okay, streaming on Twitch, from putting content on YouTube. But at the time, it was just really difficult. And I had gotten 9th place in the World Finals the year before. Right. So I'm thinking a sponsor's going to pick me up. I'm about to make money, et cetera, et cetera. And then the market crashed for Street Fighter. In 2019, it wasn't as popping for some reason. And then COVID happened in 2020.
Right.
When COVID happened, there was no more tournaments. So we couldn't do anything. But at the end of 2019, I was like, bro, I need to make some money right now. Everything was looking rough for me and I was struggling.
Right.
And so I took that substitute teaching position, and I found that not only do I enjoy the job, but I was really good at it.
Right, right.
And as a substitute teacher, you don't really do much. You're like a babysitter almost, You look after the kids, make sure nothing goes wrong, give them their lesson plans. But I found that I was doing a lot when it came to talking to the kids about life, because a lot of these kids at the school that I worked at had horrible upbringings, just, fatherless, murders, everything. And they just didn't know which way to go in life. And kids sometimes come up to you asking you for like relationship advice and all that stuff. And I just wanted to be someone that guides them in the right direction. You know, I wanted to guide them in the direction that God has guided me. Right. And provide them with a sense of, you know, care, someone that actually cares about them and is there for them.
Right.
Because I felt like when I was a kid, even though my parents loved me and raised me right, they didn't believe in the Street Fighter thing. They didn't believe in my ability to make something of myself from it.
Right.
And I wanted to show them that, hey, whatever dreams you have, know that Mr. T got your back and he's right there with you on, right there with you on the journey. So I'm a big believer in believing in yourself and following your dreams. So I tried to instill that in them, and watching them smile and actually make a difference in their lives is what made me enjoy that position as a teacher and what made me want to become an actual teacher.
Right.
You know?
You're doing your shit, bro.
Yeah.
Proud of you, man.
Thank you.
So you got a, long journey ahead of you, but keep doing what you're doing, bro. Yeah. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, always. I'm grateful to God for all the experiences that I've had, for being alive today. I'm grateful for all the supporters that I have, for all the people that have stood by me. And, shout outs to OTF Gaming. Shout outs to everybody that I've met and loved and came across. So thank you for the support. And thank you, as always.
You already know,
for
bro.
the love.
Always, bro, always. Yeah. Good having you on here, bro. I appreciate you coming, giving your game, talking and stuff. I got a shout out too, though. Shout out my boy Wali. Shout out to my motherfucking boy Wali.
Yeah.
Shout out Wali, bro. Thank you for everything you do behind the scenes, bro. Shout out to the Pace team. Shout out to everybody out there support me, man. I appreciate y'all. I want you guys to go like, comment, subscribe, whatever the fuck you want to do, but get the fuck up out of here.